So this is my end of year presentation. Just before I get started, this year has been really one of self-reflection and self-finding. So I genuinely think this has been my best year so far. Just a simple introduction. My first semester was a lot like my first year. It was kind of just going with the flow, getting homework done, not really focusing on myself, focusing on making sure I got those perfect grades. It was focusing on making sure everything was lined up perfectly and there was no source of stress. But in the second semester, I decided to just I dove all into the things I'd been putting off. And it triggered developments that I thought weren't going to happen, that really, really made things so much better. And so just some hobbies this year that I picked up. I picked up origami for some reason. I had a really fun time doing it, and my first order of business was making these two little guys, and I had a lot of fun. Then, of course, a little bit of reading here and there. Can't really do it with all the homework, though, but I had a lot of fun just picking up books that I hadn't seen in a while. And then I also started attending an organization called PRISM. It is the local LGBTQ org on campus. And I really started making friends in there. And then right after I had drawing, and these are actually pins that I drew. And these two photos were taken on the same day because we decided to just go drop off everyone at their apartments, and then those who lived on campus just took the bus back. But these two photos, and I feel like that meeting was really what kind of kick-started my involvement with PRISM. And then, of course, just exploring. These are two little side quests I guess I did. I went with Roadrunner Productions on an excursion to the rodeo. It was $20 and I got to go. The goats wanted my food, to be polite. They wanted to steal everything in my hands. And then also, these are some buddies from high school, and we went to go to like mini monster golf. And we had just a bunch of fun doing that. Some achievements in learning. It was an acceptance of self kind of year, just figuring out certain things that I hadn't originally thought about. Therapy. You can't take pictures in therapy, be real. So I put one of the therapy dogs, her name's Piggy, and I look for her every time because her owner also has a dog named Mamie, and sweetest pugs I have ever met in my life. I love them to death. And then also my first accounting classes. I've had business classes in the past, but these were my first accounting classes. So it was my first real step into the classes that would be defining the rest of my life. If I continue with accounting. But these classes told me that, yes, I am going to be persisting with accounting in the future. My principles of accounting professor, I sadly do not have a picture with her, or else it would be front and center on this. Her name was Andrea Faulkner. She was a doctoral student, and her passion for accounting is genuinely what told me, hey, this is what I need to do. This is why accounting is for me. Which is surprising because a lot of people think accounting is like the boring major. It's numbers and confusing, but it comes so easy to me. And then this semester I took accounting too, principles. And while I didn't have as close of a connection with the professor, I could walk out of one of the tests being like, oh my gosh, I definitely totally bombed that. And then the grades come out, it's a 97. So it's just starting to come naturally to me, which I'm very, very happy about. Just finding that out, because a big worry in the first place was I don't know really what accounting is. What is it going to look like class-wise? Like, I know it's book work and stuff like that, but I didn't actually know the specific aspects to it. And so this introduction really solidified it for me. And then I also attended a conference called NACA Live. And this was done for Roadrunner Productions. As they were training me to become a part of the executive board. They took me to Columbus, Ohio, where we had this 5-day long conference about leadership and programming. And this picture I used right here is actually one of the little fun bits of it. They have pin trading. So you could walk around and you could find someone you think has a cool pin, and you'll have your own school pins. You'll say, hey, want to trade? And that was probably after day one. And my lanyard was full, and I was so happy. Oh, also this. With acceptance of self, I also had to accept I look shockingly good in divorced dad outfits. This picture was one of Prism's latest event. It was Second Chance Prom. It's an instance where people who are part of the LGBTQ community who didn't get to be their authentic selves at prom during high school could really be themselves. And the theme for it was divorced dad core. And so I went like all out, and I honestly love how I look in the photo. It was so much fun. And this photo was taken with all my new buddies, and I've just been having a great time being a part of them. Some leadership and professional development, building on to NACA Live, as I was explaining to y'all earlier. So the reason I was brought to NACA Live was because they were preparing me to be put onto the executive board of Roadrunner Productions. Now, I didn't necessarily know what position I was going to get or anything of that sort, but I was aiming for like the entertainment chair, where I'd be putting on things like movie nights, or the excursions chair, where I'd be putting on, what are they called? Basically college field trips. But what ended up happening was I got the email back, and they said, hey, welcome to being a part of the e-board for Roadrunner Productions. I was like, okay, that's normal. And then I scrolled down to look at the position I got. It was the Cultural Affairs Chair. Now that startled me a bit, but I think I know what I said that was like, make her the Cultural Affairs Chair, because when in your interview, they ask you just what are some events you'd want to put on. And I made a very clear point of making sure like a winter festival event, that any like winter religious holidays religions they felt included. And I think that, and every event I talked about, I made sure it was inclusive. And so I'm very much looking forward to that, but I'm also very nervous. But I'm already making plans for future events. I'm making plans to get in contact with the cultural organizations all over campus. So like Black student orgs, the Asian student orgs, the Hispanic student orgs. I'm planning to meet with their presidents at the beginning of next semester and start communicating with them about what they want to see in cultural events, because I'm essentially going to be in charge of all cultural events on campus, which is why I'm a little daunted. But then also for professional development, it was the handling of rejection and networking. This year wasn't my best year in terms of professional development. So I applied for many things, but unfortunately I did get rejected from most of them. And once those rejections came out, it was a bit difficult. I couldn't find an accounting internship anymore, because all the rejections came out in spring, and accounting internship applications close in fall. And it closes early fall, so you have to be really on top of that. But I had prior expectations that got a little shut down for me. Service and community this year. I focused my priorities on TLS and Roadrunner Productions for my service this year. These are just a couple of photos I have from both times. Most of them are from volunteering for TLS. This right here was Ferrari Kids, or Ferrari Kid, my bad. It was the big banquet, and I really, really enjoyed this because I got to talk with and make friends with these other organizations that were also volunteering with Ferrari Kid for the event. But I think the funniest part of that event for me was I was all dressed up, so I don't really look that like my normal self sometimes, especially not to people that have met me once or twice, only once or twice. So I was walking around, and what happened was I saw what I thought was a familiar face, and it was like this massive, massive dude. And I was like, he looks familiar, but I was like, and he was like, can I help you with anything? And I was like, no, I'm okay. I just need to know where the water is. And I played it off. But later he asked me, hey, did you attend this convention in San Antonio? And I was like, yes, I attended that with my little brother. It was somebody that I had met at that convention and been chatting it up with before, before the convention even opened. And the reason he was so easy to remember was because he was so tall. He was like 6'7", and he was built, and it was very, very interesting to realize he is a close friend of Manny, the man who runs Ferrari Kid. And finding that out was actually something very hilarious, and we got like to talk again, and it was a lot of fun. Right here, this was the TLS service event with Haven for Hope. It was the Halloween event, so trunk or treat essentially. We were all dressed up as minions, and then one of us was dressed up as Gru, and we were just all we were all over the building to help direct traffic to make sure people wouldn't get lost, because it's a maze of offices and such. Then right here, this was something I did very early first semester. I had volunteered with the ASPCA with a big group of UTSA volunteers, and it's one of my favorite photos, and it was me just trying to get this shy little pup to go on a walk because he'd been locked up and he was so stressed out. So I was really just trying to make him feel better. And then this volunteering opportunity I did with Roadrunner Productions. It was for Best Fest. And these two guys behind me, I was actively in charge of the red one. And so I was busy making sure nobody was running into his legs, or making sure that he knew if there were wires at his feet, or telling him, hey, you need to pause if somebody wants to take a photo with him. And he was really fun. His name was Doug, and I really hope to work with him again because he was so sweet. We were just chatting and chatting and chatting every time, because every 30 minutes they'd have to go break. So it'd be 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off. And we'd just chat. And it was so much fun to do. Some memories from this year. It was spending time with family. In this photo, I had gone to the theater with my little brother Russell to go see the newest Avatar movie. And it's just something I do for his birthday every year, because without fail, a new Avatar movie comes out every 2 years, almost directly on his birthday. So I always make sure to take him because it's one of our favorite movie series to watch together. And then also here, we went to the Renaissance Festival in Magnolia, Texas, where we just dressed up, got to be nerds, and it was a lot of fun. We spent 3 days there, and then we head back down to San Antonio. This was the very last day because I forgot to take any pictures while I was there, unfortunately. Rekindling old friendships. So these are some of the buddies I was telling y'all about from high school. I hadn't talked with them much of freshman year, and I regret that a lot. But I went out of my way this year to get in contact with them and just rekindle those old friendships. And goodness gracious, if those friendships aren't the exact same as they were in high school, it's been amazing. I miss them so much. Then also making new friendships, the people within Prism. This picture was from the first time I ever invited any of them over to my dorm. And we were just playing Cards Against Humanity and Uno, and I snapped this photo in the moment, and it's probably one of my favorite photos. Then I also took up new crafts. These are some paper towel lotuses that took me days to make because they took forever to dry. But I love them so much. They're so pretty. And the one on this one right here is my first attempt, and this was my second. So I'm very surprised by the vibrance of color that I got. Then last for this slide was cooking for myself. Since we had more of a kitchenette this year in Laurel, I decided to take up some cooking, and I just picked up adding some things to meals I'd always make, ready-to-make meals like ramen. I'd add some sort of protein, vegetable to it. This was Spam, ramen, and chives. It sounds like an odd mix, but it was very, very good. And then these right here, it might not be easy to tell. These were stuffed mushrooms covered in cheese that I put in the air fryer. They were also very, very good. I was so happy with how they turned out. So my SMART goals for this year. So my first SMART goals for fall semester was to raise my GPA to 3.94, to hand out at least 5 resumes at career fairs, and attend 2 TLS service events and many more social events. The funny thing about that last one, I didn't realize it was going to be mandatory that year, so it was kind of an automatic success. But for GPA, I'm actually pretty proud of this. I still reached a 3.93, even if it's not a 3.94. I'm still very pleased that I even raised it at all because the heart class has been getting more difficult. The handing out resumes was a lot of fun. I'd attend career fairs like the AFI and just regular career fairs. And I ended up finding my, the high school or just the K through 12 I went to was at one of those career fairs. And I spent like 20 minutes talking to the hiring manager there. And she talked with me and told me my principal by name, and I was like, "Oh, you know him!" And she took down my information so she could say hi to him for me.
This is 15 minutes, Sophie.
Okay, I'll try and speed up. Then it was just a dedicated hour to studying every day. That was an easy success. It helped me keep on track, on top of things, while also maintaining the ability to be social, which I've been seeking so much this year. Apply for internships during the summer. This was unfortunately a fail because I had not realized so many, because just I hadn't realized how many closed in fall, and then also they don't take you in until the summer after the one you apply for. So that's already just an issue in and of itself. But also continuing to to volunteer with RPU at UTSA, Roadrunner Productions. That was an easy success. And now I'm a part of their executive board, which I'm very excited for. Future goals, communicate with and host events for the cultural groups of campus. That one's just something very simple, but also apply to the President's Student Advisory Council. I put in my application for that, and I'm very, very excited. But also to persist in making all feel welcome. That is my main goal. I do not want anyone to feel like they have to hide themselves around me. I want to make sure as many people as I can feel welcome and feel the ability to be themselves. Some simple summer plans. Because I couldn't get an internship, I decided to dedicate it to volunteering. I'm going to be volunteering at least twice a week with, I'm going to aim for Habitat for Humanity, a wildlife reserve about an hour out from here, the Humane Society, and just any other shelters I can find to help. Work part-time. I'm already applying, and so far things are looking very up for that. Craft and enjoying being creative. I put that off during college. I really do, and it's something I regret because I love just being creative and being able to make things. But I can't do it during college, and I need to make sure I have that creative outlet for myself. Thank you so much.
Great job, Sophie. I think as you're explaining things in your slideshow, I'm thinking just in the nature of like our team, that the people that work closely with accounting are also the ones that, especially this year, have also taken like a lead in events management and planning the programming that we put on. So I think that there's a lot of good in your involvement with Roadrunner Productions, as well as with Prism, but as well as just in general with your fellow TLS peers. And I think that that's going to be beneficial. That the volunteering you're going to do, which sounds like a whole lot of it. And it's not awesomeness that you're also looking for additional work as well. And so I'm hopeful for you. I'm pleased to hear that things seem to be looking up there. I think you had a strong academic semester, and I don't want you to lose that fire, and I don't think you're going to. But so far, I think you'll be a lot more competitive for an accounting internship this time around after all the things you've begun doing since that rejection.
Yeah, good job. Good job, and good job keeping your chin up. And I think now, you know, some things, it's funny, we as staff, we talk about things like deadlines, you know, casting a wide net, using the resources available to you. We try to push out things, and sometimes all of that doesn't really crystallize for students until something doesn't work out, and then they're like, oh, I see, you know. I was surprised about a couple of the rejections for you, though. I must say, one in particular that I was personally very disappointed that it didn't work out, because I really had thought it might. But it's a good reminder to cast a wide net. And as George says, I think your competitiveness is growing. And I'm real excited for you with what you're going to be doing for Roadrunner Productions. But I also want to encourage you to really look very closely at things offered by NAGEM and things that are coming out of the College of Business Student Success Center. A lot of times, those are the routes and avenues for things. And for our business majors in particular, that's been key. It's been very challenging for our business majors to find kind of things on their own. They've worked because the systems are kind of built to work through the university recruitment process. So it's really difficult to find things outside of that. So
I'm looking at that this summer because I'm going to be applying very, very soon into the fall semester because things are happening fast next semester according to those in the business.
yeah, you know, pretty much across the board, competitive things are closed by October.
Yep.
Just like the most competitive scholarships. I mean, even if we look at, for example, Texas Leadership Scholars, those deadlines are moving earlier, and they would be even earlier if there wasn't a FAFSA piece to it. So yeah, you got to be on the ball early. But I enjoyed your presentation.
Yeah, I just have a comment. I mean, I think that a lot of it just, it really means so much with me because, I mean, I too tend to see rejections as failure sometimes, but I don't think you should. I think it's something that you should always see as a step to success. I mean, failure is just inevitable. I mean, to get where we want to be at, we have to fall a couple of times and then we slowly have to bring ourselves back up. But I mean, everything will work out how it should. So you will see that.
Definitely.
Fantastic. Great job, Sophie.